I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulation or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda zoge jonam na chanjo bardo dane gyapsuch Kage jinzo gebe sonam ge dola benjire sanje rubara isho Sanje joda zoge jonam na chanjo bardo dane gyapsuch Kage jinzo gebe sonam ge dola benjire sanje rubara isho Sanje joda zoge jonam da chanjo bardo dane gyapsuchi kage jinso gebe sonam ge jola bengire sanje dubarenshu. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas. Possession of which the help subdue is expounded variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by ultimate to benefit sentient beings. The teacher is Sugata and protector to your manifestations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I join the mind of full awakening for the benefit of sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum te shandata yavatat te chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum te shandata yavatat te chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava kato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. From peacefully, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar of Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return the words. Pure utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of sense. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Nothing is sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expansive goodness of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negatives of beings, nor does he remove their miseries. Spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries glow. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no bodhicitta. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, we'll turn to page. We'll turn to page 61. The Noble Mahana Sutra, Dependent Arising. Homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One was in the realm of 33 gods, seated on the throne of Indra. With him were great masters such as the Venerable Ashvajit, Bodhisattva Mahasattvas such as the Noble Maitreya, Noble Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani, were adorned with immeasurable precious qualities, as well as various gods such as the great Brahma, who is the Lord of the whole world, Nagarjuna, a Panjashika, who is the king of the Gandharvas. On the occasion, the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Avalokiteshvara rose from his seat and, having draped his upper robe over one shoulder, knelt down with his right knee on the peak of Mount Meru. His palms together, he then bowed towards the Blessed One and addressed these words to him. Blessed One, these gods all now that they are present in this entourage, please teach them the Dharma in such a way so that the merit of Brahma will increase, and the merit of the monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen will increase much more than that of all types of beings in the world of gods, Masa, Brahma, including Brahmins and Brahmins. At this, the Blessed One spoke the words dependent. He Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Hyavatat Desham Chayo Nirotam Evam Vati Mahashramana Soham. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Avalokiteshvara, it is like this. This dependent arising is the Dharmakaya for all the Buddhas. One who has ceased dependent arising sees the Tathagata. Avalokiteshvara, if a faithful son or daughter of the noble family builds in a remote place a stupa the size of a gooseberry fruit, with a central pillar the size of a needle, and a parasol the size of a flower of the pagula tree, and inserts this verse of dependent arising, which is in the Dhammadadu, he or she will generate the merit of Brahma. When such person pass on from here in time, they will be reborn in the world of Brahma. When they pass on from there and die, they will be reborn fortunes equaling those of the gods of the pure imports. After the Blessed One has spoken these words, the hearers, Bodhisattvas, and the whole assembly, and the universe of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoice and praise his teachings. Let us turn to 37 verses, mind training. Where is it? 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. Page 141. 141. So these 37 verses, they are the very practical and the inner life. When we practice the Dharma, we are bound to meet challenges and how to tackle them. All these are given here. Let's read them together. 37 Practices of Bodhisattva by Geshe Sampo. Namo Lokeshvaraya. You see all the phenomena neither come nor go. Still you strive solely for the benefit of beings. Supreme Guru and Protector of Avalokiteshvara, to you I continue to bow with body, speech, and mind. The perfect Buddhas, the sources of benefit and happiness, arise from practicing the genuine Dharma, which is in turn returned. So I'll explain the Bodhisattva practices. Now that you have obtained this presumed birth, that grace both so difficult to find, in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of samsara, listening, reflecting, and meditating with diligence day and night is the practice of a bodhisattva. Passion towards friends churns like water. Hatred towards enemies burns like fire. Through the darkness of ignorance, one forgets what is to adopt, what to reject. Abandon one's homeland is the practice of Bodhisattva. Giving up inhospitable places, mental afflictions gradually decrease. With no distraction, virtuous activities naturally increase. When mind becomes clear, conviction of Dharma is born. Therefore, seeking solitude is the practice of Bodhisattva. Friends and relatives acquainted for long will separate. Possessions gained with exertion will be left behind. Consciousness, a guest will leave the guest house with the body. To let go of this life is the practice of the Bodhisattva. When due to friendship with someone, the three poisons increase, degrading the activities of listening, reflecting, meditating, and destroys loving kindness and compassion. To give up your negativities diminish, and your positive qualities grow like a waxing moon. To touch such a spiritual friend more than your own body is the practice of Bodhisattva. Themselves captives in the prison of samsara, whom can the worldly gods protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in rituals who do not betray you is the practice of Bodhisattva. The suffering of the lower realm, so difficult to bear, is what the Buddha taught to be the fruit of negative actions. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never to commit negative actions is the practice of Bodhisattva. Happiness in three realms is subject to instantaneous fading away. To strive for the supreme state of liberation that never wavers is the practice of a Bodhisattva. From beginningless time, your mothers have cherished you. If they suffer now, what good is your own happiness? Therefore, in order to liberate an infinite number of sentient beings, cultivating Bodhicitta is the practice of a Bodhisattva. All suffering comes from yearning for your own happiness. The perfect Buddhas are born from the interest. Therefore, to truly exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Even if someone driven by excessive desire steals your olive oil, or incites someone else to steal it, to dedicate this to is the practice of Bodhisattva. If someone cuts off your head, even when you have not done the slightest wrong, to the power of compassion, to take the misdeeds upon yourself is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Should someone slander you and proclaim it in the billion worlds, in return with a loving heart to proclaim their good qualities is the practice of Bodhisattva. If in the midst of a crowd someone exposes your hidden faults and abuses you from them, to bow to them with respect, seeing them as a spiritual friend is the practice of Bodhisattva. If someone whom you cherish as dearly as your own children, and like a mother who loves a sick child, to love that person even more is the practice of Bodhisattva. Even when someone who is your equal to or inferior, driven by arrogance, seeks to disparage you, to place them on the crown of your head, with the same respect as you would accord your guru, is the practice of Bodhisattva. Though gripped by acute poverty and constantly scorned by others, stricken by terrible illness and possessed by evil spirits, to take upon yourself the negativities and suffering of every being, and never to practice of Bodhisattva. Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, reach that of the God of the world, to see the worldly splendor has no essence, and thus to be without arrogance is the practice of a Bodhisattva. If you have not practiced the enemy of your own anger, combating outer opponents will only make them multiply. Therefore, with the army of the loving kindness and compassion, to tame your own mind is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Sensual pleasures are like salt water. The more you partake of them, the more your craving will increase. Therefore, when something arouses attachment, you abandon it immediately is the practice of Bodhisattva. All appearances of your own mind, the mind itself transcends all mental fabrications. Knowing this and to remain free from apprehending the signs of subject and object is the practice of Bodhisattva. When you encounter objects that pleases your mind, like rainbows in the summer, though they seem beautiful, not to view them as real and to give of attachment and to Bodhisattva. All suffering is like the death of a child in a dream. To take such a delusive appearances as true, how exhausting. Therefore, whenever you encounter unpleasant characteristics, to see them as the deception, the practice of a Bodhisattva. If those who aspire to enlightenment willingly give up their bodies, What need is to mention about material. Therefore, with no hope of reward or benefit, the gift and generosity in the practice of a bodhisattva. If lack of discipline prevents you from benefiting yourself, then your wish to benefit others is just like a joke. Therefore, to observe discipline with no longing for worldly existence is a practice for bodhisattva. For a bodhisattva who seeks the wealth of virtue, every perpetrator of harm is like a precious treasure. Irritation towards any, to cultivate patience is the practice of a bodhisattva. If Shavakant predicate Buddhas who strive for their benefit alone, exert efforts as if to extinguish a fire burning on their heads, to cultivate joyous effort, a wellspring of positive qualities is the practice of a bodhisattva. Especially in the sight, perfectly endowed with shamatha, completely conquers all afflictions. Knowing this and cultivating meditative concentration that transcend the four formless states is the practice of bodhisattva. The practice of the first five perfections, but without the wisdom cannot achieve perfect enlightenment. Equipped with skillful means in cultivating the wisdom of non-conceptualizing the three spheres is the practice of bodhisattva. If you do not analyze your own faults, you might put on a dharmic facade while behaving in a non-dharmic way. Therefore, to continue to analyze your faults and then discarding them is a practice of bodhisattva. If compelled by your own afflictions, you speak of the faults of other bodhisattvas, you yourself will degenerate. Therefore, never citing the faults of those who have entered the Mahayana path is the practice of a bodhisattva. Desire for gain and service leads to mutual arguments, and activities of listening, reflecting, meditating decline. Therefore, to relinquish attachment to the households of friends, relatives, and benefactors is the practice of bodhisattva. Harsh words disturb the minds of others and denigrate the bodhisattva's conduct. Therefore, to give up harsh and unpleasant speech towards others is the practice of bodhisattva. Once you have become accustomed to completion, they are hard to undermine antidotes. Therefore, with the remedial weapons of mindfulness and introspection, to forcefully eliminate afflictions such as attachment, the moment they arise is the practice of bodhisattva. In brief, whenever do always examine the state of your mind. Continuously working for the welfare of others is the practice of a bodhisattva. To get the merits thus accumulated through these efforts towards enlightenment, with its wisdom fruit, in order to eliminate the suffering of the infinite beings is the practice of a bodhisattva. By relying on the words of genuine masters, I explain the meaning taught in sutras, tantras, and treatises in the form of these 37 practices of a bodhisattva to benefit those who wish to train on the bodhisattva path. Because my intelligence is less and my learning is meager, I lack linguistic skills to please the scholars. Yet since they are based on sutras and teachings of the genuine masters, I believe these practices of bodhisattvas are flawless. Nevertheless, since the vastness of bodhisattva content is difficult to fathom by someone like me with an inferior intellect, I pray to genuine masters to consider their patience. All your contradictions, incoherences, and so forth, by virtue of the merit gathered here, and by the power of the ultimate Bodhicitta, all sentient beings become the benefactor of Avalokiteshvara, who dwells neither in the extreme of samsara nor in depth of the solitary peace. Okay, so before we go any further, we did the two methods already, and then after generating this bodhicitta, then what? What is the next? So before that, I think that there are some important points related to emptiness left, and one thing was which Petrina was to remind me.
The immediate aggregates got different from the aggregates don't depend on him now is not
which page?
on my edition 211.
211. Okay, 211.
216.
216, 211. Yes, two in mine is 216. Okay. So the reason that which we studied to establish emptiness was the four essentials to establish emptiness. Four essentials to the reasoning of the four essentials to establish emptiness, and there are many reasonings to establish emptiness. And one of which is known as the rejection of the 7 modes to establish emptiness. Rejection of the 7 modes to establish emptiness. Rejection of the 7 modes to establish emptiness. Okay, let me quickly go through them. First, you have to identify the 7 modes. What are the 7 modes? And we have to reject one by one. So just as we said that there are 2 possibilities for intrinsic, for objective existence, intrinsically one with the parts, intrinsically different from its parts. This is what we said. So now, the rejection of the 7 modes. And there's also rejection of 4 modes. There are many reasonings. So what we're learning here is rejection of the 7 modes. And okay, so first we have to identify the 7 modes, and then we reject them. The first one, the oneness. What are the 7 modes? So the first one, oneness, differentness, dependent, dependee, dependee, D-E-P-N, P-E-N, D-E-E, D-E-P-E-N, D-E-E, dependee, oneness, differentness, dependent, dependee, possession, collection, and the special configuration, a special shape, collection, and the special shape, oneness, differentness, dependent, dependee, possession, collection, and the special shape. A special shape, shape, S-H-A-P-E, S-H-A-P-E, shape. Okay, oneness, what are they? Oneness, differentness, dependent, depending, possession, collection, special shape. Okay, so these are the 4. This is what they say. If the self does exist, if the self does exist independently, if the self does exist objectively, these are the 7 are the possible ways for the self to exist objectively. And since we already rejected we already established the emptiness on the basis of the 4 essentials, it's very easy now. So the first one, number 2, these 2 are what we did already. Oneness, we rejected the flower to be one with its parts. Right, from the 4 essentials, we rejected the flower. What is the second essential? Hey, essential, 4 essentials, you forgot. Essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically one with its parts. This is number 2. Essential number 2. What is essential number 3? Essential of understanding the emptiness of objects being intrinsically different from its parts. So oneness and differentness there. We already rejected the 2. So these 2 are from the 7. The first 2 we already rejected. And then for your information, what happens? What is next? From the 7. From the 7, what is number 3? Dependent. What is number 4? Dependee. What is number 5? Possession. Okay. These 3, these 2 are more like the rejection of the number 2. What is number 2? Differentness. So number 3, 4, 5, these fall under the category of the category of if you succeed in rejecting number 2, you also succeed in rejecting number 3, 4, 5. You getting it? Okay, and I'll explain, don't worry. I'll explain this. And then after this, then what is left? The collection. Okay, this is something to be done separately. And then the special shape. These 2 are going to be a little more technical, and we require more analysis. Okay. Okay, first let us go one by one. Let's say the self. The self. Okay, let's say self, or let's say the flower. Let's say the flower. First, subjective flower to ultimate analysis, we end up seeing the atoms, right? Atoms are the parts. So the oneness meaning that the flower is a flower is rejected to be intrinsically one with its parts, one with the atoms. That we already did it. You remember? That the atoms are not the flower, objectively. Objectively, the atoms are not to be identified as one with the flower, meaning that they are not the flower, objectively not the flower. The next one is that the rejecting the flower to be intrinsically different from its parts. How do we do that? Remove the atoms. If the flower is different from the parts, remove the atoms, and then you should be able to see the flower, right? Remove the atoms. Do you see a flower is different from the atoms? You don't see that. So you reject the flower to be intrinsically different from the parts. Number 2 done. So what is next? Dependent. Let us say that we are dependent on I'm dependent on the walking stick. For me to walk, I depend on the walking stick. So if you see that I'm walking without the walking stick, then what will you say? I tell you that I depend for me to walk, I depend on the walking stick. And one day you suddenly see me walking without a walking stick. What do you tell me? Huh? It's not true that he depends on the walking stick, right? It's not true. Okay, so to say that he's dependent, the person who's dependent and the walking stick, the dependee, these two should be together, right? These two should be together there. If the dependent and dependee, dependent makes sense with the dependee. If the dependee is not there, dependent makes no sense. And dependent, without the dependent, dependee makes no sense. You're getting it? These two are mutually dependent. You agree with me? Okay, this is a very important concept. Let's say that the generosity. Let's say that let's say in a country A, and country A is invaded by, let's say, invaded by some militants, let's say, by some militants. And then the citizens are suffering without getting any the food shortage. So instantly, what happens? Amnesty International will send food, right? Amnesty International will send food. Red Cross will send food. But the food has to go through the border. And the border, all the militants stop the border. You're getting it? So let's say that in a loose sense, we see that people in that country A, the citizens, common citizens, they are the beneficiaries. They have received the benefits. And the UNO, International Amnesty, the Red Cross, let's say, these big NGOs, they are the benefactors. And then the truck, the load of food, they should move. That is benefiting. You're getting it? Beneficiary, benefactor, and act of benefiting. Hey, what happened? Feel tired since the morning? Okay, so when I speak about the act of benefiting, there are 3 things involved. Benefactor, beneficiary who receives the benefit, and the action which connects the two. What connects the two? Act of benefiting. There are 3 things. So these 3 things are mutually dependent. You're getting it? There's no one thing which is more important than the other. All 3 are equally dependent. They are mutually dependent. If any one of them is missing, all the remaining 2 become meaningless. For example, let's say sometimes there's a benefactor there, but the beneficiary is not there. Right? You want to engage in generosity. Some people, they tell me, "Oh, Geshe, I want to help somebody, I don't find any, they say the way to place to help, so please tell me how to do that. So somebody wants to donate, but there's no beneficiary. So which means you are not a donor, because the beneficiary is not there. And some people, they want to receive the benefit. They want to receive the benefit, but the benefactor is not there. There's nobody to donate. So you are not a beneficiary. Without the benefactor, beneficiary makes sense. Sometimes the benefactor, beneficiary, both are there. For example, Amnesty International, Red Cross, UNESCO, all are there. And the citizens of the country A suffering from poverty are there. But actual benefit is not happening because the border was closed by the militants. Right? Actual benefit is not happening. Because of which the people of the citizens of the country A, they are not the beneficiaries. And the Red Cross and the Amnesty International, they are not the benefactor because the actual benefiting is not happening. So these three are mutually dependent. You're getting mutually dependent. Likewise, dependent and dependee. So let's say that I'm dependent on this walking stick for me to walk. To say that I'm the dependent and the walking stick is the dependee. But if the walking stick is not there, then I'm not dependent on the walking stick. You're getting it? A walking stick is a dependee and I'm dependent. Doesn't make any sense. You're getting it? So for dependent and dependee to be there, there should be two things. You're getting it? Okay, now the flower and the atoms of the flower. The flower, is it dependent on the atoms? Yes, no. Speak your mind. Yes. And the atoms, say the flower is the dependent, and the atoms are the dependee. And also the atoms are the dependent and the flowers, the flower is the dependee also. There's mutuality of dependency. Because to say that these atoms are the atoms of the flower, they should add flower. Without the flower, we cannot say that these atoms are the parts of the flower. So in the absence of flower, these atoms will not become the parts of the flower. So the atoms are the dependent of the flowers as well as dependee of the flowers. How it is dependent of the flowers? How these are dependent of the flower? Because we say the flower exists only by dependent on the atoms, right? So these are the atoms are the dependent of the flowers, and this are also the dependent of the flower. Because without the flower, you cannot say that these are the atoms of the flower. So there's a mutuality of dependency between the flower and the atoms of the flower. So which means that these were dependent dependee. Yes, no. Then how can you reject? Number 3, number 4. What are number 3 and number 4? Dependent. How can you reject this? Because of 2? Not 1 and 2, because of 2? Right? Okay. So when Pajana is saying that it's not just dependent in general, it is intrinsic dependency. What do you mean by intrinsic dependency? From the object. Dependency from the object, not from the subject. Dependence from the object. From the object, dependency or not dependency, how should we evaluate? Anyone? Very good. So we have to subject this dependency to the ultimate analysis. You're getting it? By subjecting this flower and the atoms of flower to ultimate analysis, the flower disappears. You're getting it? When the flower disappears, then one thing is missing. Like me, without this walking stick, then I walk, then I'm not dependent on the walking stick. So dependency makes no sense. So subjecting flower to ultimate analysis, the flower disappears. Only the atoms are left. So atoms in the flower, dependent, the two do not exist. If there's no two, then dependent makes no sense. Yes? You agree? Agree, not agree? Okay. Our physicists agree, not agree? You agree, not agree? You agree? Can you explain a little bit what I said? Let me say it again. So let's say that the flower and the atoms of the flower, are these two dependent or dependee? Yes. In the conventional, yes. In conventional, yes. But we are not just rejecting dependent and dependent, we are rejecting intrinsic dependent and dependency. Intrinsic dependent and intrinsic dependee. This is what we're rejecting. Intrinsic meaning objective. How do you reject the objective existence of the dependent and dependee? How do you object it? By subjecting this to ultimate analysis. Subject and ultimate analysis, the flower dissolves. You're getting it? So of the two things, one is gone. Only the atoms are left. So only the atoms are left. Then the atom is dependent on what? The flower is dependent on what? The flower is not there to speak of. You're getting it? In the eyes of the ultimate analysis, which means that the flower and the atoms of the flower, these two are not objectively dependent and dependent. You got it? Yes? Okay, after lunch, heavy lunch? No? No? Okay, let me say this again. Okay, step by step. The flower and the atoms of the flower, are these two dependent and dependent in normal situation?
Yes.
Yes. Now, what we are rejecting here is not just dependent and dependent. We're rejecting intrinsic dependent and dependent, or objective dependent and dependent. Okay, Namsala, how do you explain it? How do you reject the intrinsic dependent and dependent? Louder. Subject this flower to ultimate analysis. Then? To find out if there's any objective, the dependent. Then?
That's how we check that there's no objective existence of dependent and dependent.
So how do you reject it? So how? Yeah, you subject the flower to ultimate analysis. Then what happens?
Then we find out that the atoms and the flower does not exist.
How?
Objectively dependent and dependent.
No, that is the main conclusion. How do you reach to that level? Anyone? Philip?
The flower can
Say it again.
the flower is
Yes. Subject of the flower to ultimate analysis. What happens to the flower? Flower disappears. So of the two sides, one is gone. Okay, Philip, continue. When the flower gone, then? Then dependent makes no sense. Because to talk about dependent, there should be two things. You're getting it? That I depend on the walking stick for me to walk. When the walking stick is missing and still I walk, which means the two things are missing. Only one thing is there. Which means I don't depending on the walking stick doesn't make any sense. You're getting it? Likewise, the flower depending on the atoms, subject to the flower ultimate analysis, the flower dissolves. Flower is not there. When the flower is not there, of the two things, one is missing. When one is missing, then the phenomenon of dependency makes no sense. Why? For dependency, what is that? Dependent, dependee, there should be the two things. Two things. Of the two, if one is missing, then this phenomenon of dependent makes no sense. What is the example? Beneficiary, benefactor, and the act of benefiting. If any of the three is missing, all three dissolves. You getting it? Okay, how many understood the raise hands? Okay, the young Bella, can you explain it?
when we subject
Yes, when you subject the flower, yes,
we will find atom only.
or we find only the atoms and the flower dissolves. Then,
Since we are finding the intrinsic dependency in which there should be intrinsic dependent and intrinsic.
very good. So, to talk about the intrinsic dependency, there must be the dependent and the dependent to two things. Of the two things, one is gone, flower dissolves. So, there's only one left. With one, the dependency makes no sense. Dependent, dependee makes no sense because dependence is not there. Right? Very good. Over there, the lady over there, your name? Huh? Iranian. Huh? Oh, Irani. Irani, okay, not Ilani. Okay, Irani, yes.
So I'm going to explain why.
Why they say, how can you reject the intrinsic dependency, intrinsic dependent and dependee?
So first of all, in order to exist a relationship between a dependent and a dependent, they have to be two elements.
Yes.
Only one element doesn't make sense. So if we look at a flower and we do an ultimate analysis, we are going to arrive to the absence of the flower because there are only atoms in space and we cannot see the flower anymore. So there is only one element. It cannot be dependent or dependent from another element because there is absence of it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, how many agree with the Irani resonance? Wow, everybody agrees with Irani, right? So the young fella agrees. Young fella explained so well. Okay, good. So we have already succeeded in rejecting the first four modes: oneness, differentness, dependent, dependee. What is number 5? Possession. Possession or appropriation. These two are same. Possession or appropriation. To possess, I possess the flower. I appropriate the flower. Appropriate means to possess. Appropriation, rejection of the appropriation of the rejection of the possession. So again, the same principle works here. Same principle works here to say that I possess this flower. They should be the flowers. They should be the possessor. You getting it? Again, two things. Possessor and the possessed, they should be the two things. If I say that in my hand, I possess the flowers in my hand, there's no flower there, right? So to say that I possess the flowers in my hand, they should be the flowers in my hand. Again, the possessor and possessed, two things should be there. Possessor and the possessed, two things should be there. And if only if one dissolves, then there's no two things. Without the two things, possessed, possessor makes no sense. It has automatically is dissolved. So again, same thing to say that the self and the atoms, self, the person, intrinsically possesses the 6 elements. The self, the person, intrinsically possesses the 6 elements, or the atoms, or the flower intrinsically possesses the intrinsically possesses the atoms. To talk about the possession, there should be the possessor and the possessed. Do you agree? Yes. Okay. So there should be two things. If one of these two things is missing, then the possession doesn't make any sense. If the possession is not there, possessed and possessor makes no sense. Right? Okay. So, again, how do you do that? Anybody? Anybody likes to explain this? Anyone? MTech, you like to explain? No? Yes? No? Okay. Sealy?
Because we need to establish these possessors and object to possess, right? So you subject the object to ultimate analysis.
Let's say subject the flower to ultimate analysis.
Then there will be empty of flower. So then this relationship cannot be established. So then you reject the possession.
Okay, what Sealing is saying is that they say to reject this, the intrinsic possession, intrinsic possession, which is number 5. To reject this, we have to subject the flower to ultimate analysis. Subjecting the flower to ultimate analysis, we see that the flower dissolves. The flower is empty. Only the atoms are left. And to talk about the possession, there should be two things, possessed and possessor, two things. Without two things, possession makes no sense. So the flower dissolves, there's only one thing left, atoms, not the flower. So with the only one thing, without two things, then possession makes no sense. So this is how we reject the intrinsic possession. How many agree with sealing? Raise hands. Very good, everybody agrees? Okay, good. So what is left now? Collection is left and the special shape is left. Okay, yes,
So when we reject dependence,
yes.
then aren't we like saying it's independent?
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Okay, when you reject the dependency, then it should imply the independence. Okay, then it becomes worse. Then it becomes subjective. Oh. Okay, anybody who can help me? Huh? Anybody who helps me? Who can help me? Yes.
Rejecting intrinsic dependence, intrinsic mutual dependence.
So intrinsic mutual dependence is rejected. So in
The conventional dependence is not rejected.
no, intrinsic the dependency is rejected. So intrinsic independence is inferred.
Because there's no intrinsic dependence, how can there be intrinsic independence?
No, these two are the say for example, when you reject the darkness, the light is inferred.
But is it-
When you reject permanence, impermanence is inferred.
Are we rejecting intrinsic dependence? Is that so? If intrinsic dependence does not exist, now will intrinsic independence.
Now this is what these two are contradictory, right? These two are mutually the exclusive. So when you reject one, other is inferred.
But along with it, we're rejecting intrinsic dependence as well.
So when you for example, let's say when a person is rejected to be a male, the non-male is inferred, right?
That is correct. But moreover, we're not just rejecting intrinsic dependence, but intrinsic existence of the dependence.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. So when intrinsic dependency is rejected, intrinsic
Existence of the dependence.
uh,
That the mutual dependency exists intrinsically.
so intrinsic dependence is rejected, intrinsic independence is inferred. No? Are you sure?
We're rejecting the
Are you very confident? So look at the Lakshmi's face, if she's happy. If she's not happy. Okay, Latunla.
Geshe, I agree with what you are saying, but I just want to add one thing that rejecting, when we negate, it is like emptiness, right? Geshe? Emptiness is always non-affirming negative phenomena. So when rejecting the dependent divinity, we are not affirming anything.
No, this is your belief that it should be, not from a negative. The thing is that when we say, for example, when you say the flower is not permanent, impermanence is inferred. Automatically is inferred. No?
So that's why we say non-affirming.
No. But if it's the case, the thing is that whether the same mind, say for example, let's say the flower, the permanence is rejected, impermanence is inferred. The same mind, whether it understands or not, this is a discussion. Otherwise, logically speaking, if something is not if something exists and not permanent, it should be impermanent. No? Of course it should be. Of course.
we're rejecting the intrinsic existence of the mutual dependence. So you're saying the dependence does not exist intrinsically.
So therefore, since the dependency does not exist intrinsically, so therefore the independence should be existent, it should be inferred. Of course. Dependency, independence, these two are opposites. No? Of course. We remember the 5 points. Right? Emptiness is short form of emptiness of independent existence. That everything is empty of independent existence, which means nothing exists independently, which means everything exists dependently. You're getting it? You remember that? This is what Lakshmi is saying.
But we're rejecting objective existence. That we're rejecting the intrinsic existence itself.
Okay, here, Rachel.
Let me try. So we have the dependent, who is, say, you, and the dependee is the walking stick,
Yes,
and then the relation between you and the walking stick is one of dependence.
yes,
And this is a three, so there are two objects involved and the relationship.
relationship, yes,
But here, what the logic that we're using is to reject you as the intrinsic reality, the objective reality of one element of this relationship.
yes,
The element of the dependent
yes,
person or object. So that's taken away, and the whole thing collapses.
yes.
And therefore we reject the dependent and the dependent.
So you reject the dependency,
And so the dependence also falls apart.
is reject.
But that doesn't mean that you therefore have independence.
No, when the dependency is rejected, independence is implied. No.
No, because
So when somebody is rejected to a male, non-male is inferred. No.
but in this case we rejected the dependent.
Okay. First, do you follow this reasoning? When I say that, that let's say Mr. A, let's say Mr. A is not female, right? Which means non-femaleness is inferred. Yes, no.
Yes, in that case. But in
Okay, so when intrinsic dependency is rejected, intrinsic non-dependency, intrinsic independence is inferred.
But here when we look at
Yes, no.
here it's not the dependence per se that's been rejected. Here it's not the dependence per se that's been rejected. It's this.
The objective dependence is rejected. Objective dependence is rejected. So objective dependence is rejected, therefore objective independence is inferred.
Well, no, because you don't have the two objects. So you can't.
No, this is what I'm saying.
What is independent?
So therefore they are independent of each other. They are not dependent on each other, therefore they are independent of each other.
No, because
Of course.
No, because if you're the dependent and the stick is the dependent, and you have been subjected.
So let's say that the flower and the atoms, the flower dissolves,
There's nothing to be independent.
the flower dissolves, only the atoms are left, so the atoms they become independent of the flower.
Well, no, because the flower doesn't exist, so how can
No, flower is not there, so therefore it is independent of the flower.
No, because you can't be independent of something.
You are independent. You are independent of elephant in the house.
But an element
Right.
in the house isn't
It's non-existent. Therefore, the objective flower is non-existent.
so nothing can be independent or dependent on it because it doesn't exist.
Yes. Therefore, the atoms are independent of the objective flower.
But
Okay, Abhishek ji.
No, because if the flowers don't exist.
Okay.
If we ask Lakshmi a question, then what does she expect independent?
Okay. Lakshmi, you have to ask the question again. Yeah. Louder.
So, if that, what is that which exists independently? Can you give an example? I can't give one.
Now Abhishek ji is threatening Lakshmi, right? So when I speak on behalf of Lakshmi, right, Abhishek is not too happy. He's threatening Lakshmi to keep quiet. Okay, Lakshmi, repeat your question.
So, I think I'm confused with the question now.
Now she's threatened already.
So, if we reject the dependent, then does that imply the independence
It's inferred.
is inferred?
Very good. That's the question. Very good question. It's amazing.
Independence of what is it for that?
Independence of the, let's say for the flower, the atoms are left, independence of the flower.
But you already negated that.
Exactly. The negated, therefore it becomes independent. The atoms become independent of the flower. Flower is negated. You see the emptiness of the flower. atoms are left. So atoms become independent of the flower. Wow, that's amazing. It never hit my mind. All these lies, since I first learned about emptiness, this question never came to me. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, anyone? Yes.
I would try.
Yes.
Okay, so does that mean that it could be a situation where there's no duality? Because then after this, if initially is intrinsically independent, but then once you remove it, like the three things, it becomes independent. But even so, both are right because it's a non-duality. If you go
Both are right, meaning independent, the intrinsic independence is right.
yes,
Okay, which means it infers independence.
it's also right because
Okay.
because
So which means the intrinsic independence exists.
yes,
It exists or not?
yes, and yes, because if not, we're going
If it is yes, then it exists. Then there is some degree of objective existence there. Okay, let me give you a clue. Let me give you a clue. The clue is that, okay, let's say, elephant in this house is not permanent. True or not? Elephant in this house is not permanent. Is it true or not? True. Oh, so which means elephant in this house must be impermanent. Is it impermanent? No? Hey, Lakshmi? Yes, no? Okay, elephant in this house, does it eat grass or not? Hey, Lakshmi? No, it does not eat. So which means it remains hungry? It does not eat grass at all? Or of course it will not eat meat. Huh? Huh? So which means elephant in this house is not impermanent. Is impermanent is it permanent or not? Hey Lakshmi, is it impermanent or not? Elephant in this house, is this moving or not? Impermanent means moving. Impermanent elephant in this house, is it impermanent or not? It is impermanent. Impermanent means somebody who walks, who does not stay static. This elephant does this walk? It doesn't walk. It's not impermanent. Is it permanent? If it's not impermanent, it must be permanent. Yes. So when something is non-existent, it can't be permanent as well as impermanent. When somebody elephant in this house, is it dependent on the grass? No. Is it independent of the grass? No, you're getting it? So simply because it is non-existent, independence, non-independence, both makes no sense. So therefore, for non-existent, when the dependence is rejected, it does not have to infer the independence. You're getting it? Okay, good. So now what is left? Collection. The collection. Okay, so many people say, once I was giving a talk on emptiness in a school, Tibetan school. I said that, where's the table? The top leg is not the table, the legs are not the table. Where's the table? And one girl stood up, a school girl, very young, maybe like age, I think 14, 15. She stood up and said that, and I asked, where's the, just raise hand, where's the table? The girl raised her hand and said that the collection of all these parts is the table. Okay, so now this is what we are to reject. Anybody who can reject it. So what is the table? Which is the flower? Which atom? The first atom, second one. Also, the collection of all the atoms is the flower. So what's the answer? Anyone? This is a very complicated part. Vinipajula?
So if I were to take apart the table and stack it up,
Yes.
it would make the table.
Okay, so the table parts, the collection, the top plank, the legs, they're all just broken apart. and put them together, right? Put them together, broken, just without unassembled, put them together. The collection is there, but it's not a table. So the girl is very smart. She says that not only just the disorderly form, it should be in a proper configuration. Collection of the parts in a proper configuration, that is the table. How do you reject it? Anyone? Ben? Yes.
I was going to say a table is a mental designation.
No. You have to reject my position.
Okay.
Don't come up with your position. You're getting it? What I'm saying is that the table is the collection of the parts put in a special configuration. That is a table.
Only if one or more minds agree. Only if it is perceived by a mind who believes that, or more than one mind.
No, how would you reject it? What I'm saying is that is a table. The table exists objectively,
So it's
and we'll just point to that. I said the collection of the parts which are put in a special configuration. That is the table.
But
That's
this configuration is a table only if someone is there to say.
no. This is your view. You have to reject mine. Don't just put your view. Anybody? I'm talking about the special. Okay, do you all understand did you all understand what I said? The collection of the parts put in a special configuration, which means the top plank and on the four corners you attach the four legs. That's it. That's the table. You're getting special configuration. The collection of the parts with a special configuration, that is the table. So how do you reject it? Anyone? No one? Huh?
Can you touch the table?
Yeah.
That's not a table.
Oh, that's not table.
That's the top line.
Oh. So you ask for, can I have a morning bread? Right? Can I have morning bread? And then the shopkeeper gives you bread. This is not a bread. What are you touching is not a bread. Where's the bread?
That's a part of it. That's not.
This is not a table. You're crazy.
That's a part.
I'm Dorji. I'm real Dorji.
That's a part.
People take you to mental hospital.
I think that's a.
Yes, of course, this is Thosamling. This is Thosamling. Don't say this is not Thosamling. This is Thosamling. We are in Thosamling. You're getting it?
So my position is wherever you're touching the table is part of the table.
This is not a table.
It's a part of
This is not a table.
it's a part of
This is a table or not? This is not a table. This is not a table. We are not in Thosamling. We are in a part of Thosamling.
Yes,
We are not in Thosamling. We are not in the planet Earth. We are in the part of the planet Earth. We are not in India. We are in a part of India. So you don't have to seek a visa, India visa. You seek a visa for a part of India visa. Crazy that's. Anyone else? Yes, Tam.
Maybe we can say, even if we scratch the table, then the configuration is not perfect, but everyone will still say it's a table, so it shows
Oh, now the table has become good table to bad table.
it's still a table, right?
Of course, is that the earlier configuration is a good table configuration, right? Good table configuration. It changes to bad table configuration. Therefore, it becomes a bad table. Hansla.
Well, based on what you said, Mr. Configuration, I suppose the screws have been put in and the thing has been, there was somebody that made the table.
Of course. Yes. Screws also added there.
Conventional analysis is there is a table.
Yes, there's a table there.
But when we then look at the ultimate analysis, then there is only atoms there.
That's true. But the collection of the parts in a special configuration, is that table or not?
Has it been put together?
Or put together, screw everything. Yes,
Everything like that?
the screw everything.
So that there was somebody that did that.
Yes, of course, somebody did it. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, which means Hansla is with me. Daehyung, you want to say? Daehyung, you want to say? No? Huh? No? Anyone else? Oh? Okay. So this little girl, the Lakshmi, put us in a problem. This girl from the school also put us in problem. Okay, what do you do now? What's next now? Done? Right? Two not answered. Huh? Huh? Of course, parts are not the whole. Yes, that's I agree. But the collection of the parts. We're not talking about the parts. We're talking about the collection of the parts. Collection of parts in a special configuration. That is a table.
Focus on the words because of the collection that trapped us there. So the collection is also not the tables. Even it's the collections, but the collection is not.
Why not?
Which collection? If we point to any parts of the collections, you cannot exactly point to identify that.
What do you have to point to?
For example, the human body is a collection of different parts put together.
So you agree with this? Human body is a collection of the parts? You said it. Okay. Okay, let us listen to what Philip has to say. Philip, always he's ready with the... Yes, Philip.
No, but to be a part, it needs to depend on the whole.
Yes, I agree. Okay, I'm not talking about the parts. I'm talking about the collections of parts.
Yeah, you can see the other one.
Say it again.
You can focus on one part.
No, let's not focus on one part. We'll focus on the collection of parts.
But if you take one part out, will it still be a table?
Or then they say you have taken a small part away, then becomes a good table to a bad table.
But then does it function as a table?
Huh?
Will it function as a table?
Of course it'll function as a table.
Can you keep if I remove one of the legs?
You don't remove everything. Just remove a small part here. Bring a small part, for example, this mug. This mug, you remove the handle. Still it serves as a function as a mug. And if you don't, you hold it like this. There's no handle, I'll hold it like this.
No, the difference is with the table. If you remove the legs,
Hey, let us keep in mind that when you try to give some reasons, there's always a physicist and MTech are there. Keep in mind that smart people are there, right? What kind of reasons they're giving, right? What kind of reasons, right? Very weak reasons. Give strong reasons, otherwise these two in front of you. What's happening? Okay. Anyone? Okay, here next.
I will just try.
Okay, Dr. Mandanasa, yes.
You said connection of parts with special configuration.
Yes.
So is it something to do with the special configuration?
Say it again.
You said that it is a collection of parts with special configuration.
Yes.
So you added the word special configuration.
Yes.
Something to do with that then. Maybe not just dependent on the parts, but also on certain causes and conditions.
So this you have to tell Philip, It's not only the parts, it's a special configuration. That is the key. Yes, you are right. Cause the conditions, yes. Then?
So it is dependent upon the causes and conditions as
Yeah.
which will make it into a table.
Yes. So?
So we have to reject that.
Yes, how to reject it. Okay, Sinshirula. Yes, Sinshirula, keep in mind that the MTech and the MTech in physics, physicists, the two of them are looking at you. Yes, yes.
It is made of.
This is the psychologist's point of view. Okay, this is the psychologist's point of view. Yes. The table.
The table is made up of the parts.
Yes.
If the parts are not there, table won't be there.
Yes.
So if you remove all the parts of the table
Yes.
and make it into a chair,
Yes.
then the chair, we will not say that the chair is the table.
You're right. Perfect. So, so what's the question? Yes, I fully agree with you. Yes. Now the configuration has changed. So therefore, this is known as a special configuration, not any configuration. Yes. With you change the configuration, it can become chair. Sometimes it can become like a cupboard. But with the specific configuration, then it remains as a table. Yeah. Right? You agree? Perfect. Okay. Now the last. Okay, Lakshmi here.
Might be totally wrong, but when we break it and when we bring it back, even in the same, configuration, it will be a table, but it will be the same table, because maybe the factors and whatever led to create in that particular table would be 100% same than you would do the other one. I don't know. What I'm saying is, it could be a table, but will it be the same table?
Okay. So did you follow what Lakshmi said? She said that the table, you unassemble it, all the parts. And then again, then you take it to another place. From Thosamling, you take it to Delhi. Then assemble it again in the same way. So it becomes a table. Is it the same table or different table? This question. You getting it? Okay. Let's say what happened was that back in 1940s. 1940s, most likely. 40s or 50s. I think 40s. Tibet was very high altitude, very high altitude. And no cars. So the 13th Dalai Lama was presented a car, I think by, I don't know who might be that, British, the ambassador, or they offered a car. So this car cannot, there's no motorable route to Tibet. So this car was to be sent to Tibet. You're getting it? This car has to go to Tibet, not a different car. This car has to go to Tibet. So what they did, they unassembled all the parts. And the people carried this to Tibet, and they were assembled there by mechanic. Okay, the same car came to Tibet or not? So this was actually happened. Yeah. So it's just, conventionally we say that this is the same car. Right? This is a car which this British, the ambassador, offered to His Holiness, the third Dalai Lama. Okay, anybody who, okay, yes, Kyle? Okay, no answer. Okay, which means then I'm happy. Okay, anybody? No? Okay, what do we, okay, Tam.
Is not okay if you can reject the objective existence of the special configuration, then also the collection will collapse.
Oh, say it again.
If we can reject the objective existence of the special configuration,
How do you reject it?
it's dependently originated, right?
How? Yes, of course.
So it's dependent on other. Okay, so we apply alternate analysis.
Okay, that's fine. But we are not saying that special configuration exists objectively. What we are saying is that the table exists objectively because the collection of the parts with the special configuration, that is the table. We're not talking that special configuration is the special configuration. This is not what we're saying. Special configuration, the collection of the table, the parts of the table with the special configuration, that is the table. How do you reject it? Okay, yes, here.
So if the table exists intrinsically, that means the table and the parts, they have to be one. So this means the special shape of the table and the special shape of the leg of the table have to be the table. They have to be the same.
Yes, of course, they are same.
They're not the same. The special shape of the table and the special shape of the part of the table is different.
The special shape of the part of the table, this is not the special shape of the table, of course not.
But for them to be objectively existent, the part and
No, not the parts. Collection of the parts. Not the single part. Collection of the parts and the object should be one. Yes, you are right. That is the case.
But it's not one. The shape, the special shape of the table and special shape of the part of the table, they're not the same.
No, this is what you think. You the Prasangikas, this is your problem. But the collection of the parts of the table with a special shape, that is the table. So,
But for example, objectively existing the object and the parts, they have to be one, which we rejected in the fourth essential.
that is your issue, Prasanga's issue. You the Prasangikas, your issue. Okay.
Can we take another example?
Huh?
We used to give this example that I am happy. I am very happy. Whereas I am happy.
Okay, so I don't want the old hands, I want to see the new hands. Here.
If it says a special a collection of the parts of the table, it's in a special configuration. It still depends on the parts.
Okay, this is what Philip said. Yes.
And if we reject the parts by the intrinsic existence of the parts,
No, how do you reject the parts? But we see the parts there. We subject the parts to ultimate analysis. Then the parts also dissolve. Yes. Then
if the parts dissolve, then the collection cannot be established because
okay, when the parts are no more there, then the collection of parts cannot be posited. Yes, that's good. This is what Philip said. Now you are articulating it. Okay, now the Yangila has articulated this. Actually, it's so two of you are in the same boat. Okay, Minogaji. Not the collection table, collection parts of the table.
It is not one with its parts, and it's not differently also.
From the parts.
Yeah. So, if you say this collection in table, that's what you were saying. It is a collection. The collection is saying that it is a table.
Yes.
But as we have rejected the oneness and the differentness.
Yes.
So it cannot be a table.
No, we rejected with the differentness. We rejected the table to be different from the parts, but never reject. We did not reject the collection of the parts with the special configuration to the table. This is not rejected. We only reject the table to be one with the parts, or the table to be different from the parts. These two are rejected, not the collection of the parts with the special configuration. Okay. The Lakshmi here. Yes.
I agree with Philip. And so if we say that, if one part is rejected, the other part is also rejected, so there are no more dependents. So then the parts become non-existent, and if they are non-existent, then they are neither dependent nor independent. So then
No, who said the part is no more there?
No.
Atoms are there. Atoms to be the parts. Atoms as the parts may not be there, but the atoms are still there. So the collection of atoms is there. Collection of atom with a special configuration is there. That is the table.
No, but when we subject it to ultimate analysis.
Yes. Which to ultimate analysis? The table?
The table and the parts of the table.
Both.
Yeah, the table.
Okay, let's say table.
We go to the parts.
Table is easier for me. Yes, thank you.
So we go to ultimate analysis.
Yes.
And then we understand that we reject through the ultimate analysis
The table dissolves. Then?
that it's intrinsically neither one with
Okay, the table being intrinsic one with the parts is rejected.
Yes.
Then?
And intrinsic
And the table to be intrinsically different from the parts also rejected. So what?
yes. So if they're both rejected, then when you look at the atoms, you're not saying it's a table or it's a part of the table. And when you
Of course, the atoms are never the table. Collection of the atoms in a special configuration, that is a table.
So when the parts itself are dissolved, then the configuration of
Parts are not dissolved. The parts may be dissolved, but atoms are not dissolved.
Atoms are non-existent.
Huh? Yes, Ms. Biala?
When you go closer to the table, what you see is only the parts of the table. So, and then you go further away, I see the table. So, if I go closer, each part I take out one is the leg, one is the top back. It is not the table, it's parts of the table. The whole is coming from the mind, the shape is coming from the mind. That's not
So to first, yeah, our debate will be just endless. You will say that the whole is coming from your mind. And I say, no, it's not coming from my mind. It's coming from the object. So you have to prove that it's not coming from the object. Okay, there. So this, I'm a little scared. Irina.
I can reject the configuration of the special configuration of the table because maybe it is not reproducible, because it is not possible that this special configuration is made again.
How it is not possible?
Because I guess the table is the samsara and it is a permanent it's a composite thing. So
It's a composite phenomena, yes.
the configuration depends on a lot of cause conditions.
Yes.
So I cannot say this special configuration is the table.
Why not?
If I try to do the same, maybe it's another day, it's raining, the piece of the table is going to get wet and the configuration will change.
Yes, but the configuration changes. Yes, of course the configuration changes. Right? For example, you remember the Sphinx? The Sphinx of which country? Egypt? Right? Sphinx? Like 1,000 years ago when it was first made, it was so with the sharp edged. And now it's all worn out. Configuration gradually changes. Yes. That's the reality. I agree with you. Simply because configuration changes doesn't mean that the special configuration is not the table. It is still the table. When it changes completely, then the table becomes broken, finished. Yeah. Okay, so no answer. Yes, Pedula.
try. So when we look at it from a distance, it looks at a conventional level like a table. But if we subject it to an ultimate analysis, let's say with an electron microscope,
Yes.
the closer we get, we don't see the table, what we see are the atoms of the table.
Yes.
So someone who is very close up only sees the atoms, there is no table there. Whereas from far, at a conventional level, you still see the atoms.
Do you see the collection of the table? Collection of the parts? Collection of atoms?
You see the
Too
atoms.
closely.
You
From
see
close inspection, do you see the collection of the parts?
you even in fact if you go even closer and closer, even the atoms are not in a particular configuration. The atoms.
No, do you see the atoms or not?
You can see the atoms.
Okay, collection of the atoms
You can see a collection.
with a special configuration.
It can be even in a special configuration.
That is a table.
Yeah, but the closer you get to it, you don't see the table. You see
No, it doesn't matter. Do you see the collection of the atoms?
You see the emptiness of the atoms.
No. Do you see the collection of atoms?
You can see even beyond the collection of the atoms.
Do you see the no? Beyond. Let us do it later. First, do this one. The atoms. Do you see the collection of atoms? Special configuration.
Yes, you can see.
That is a table. If you can see that, that's a table. Hey, don't forget that two of them are in front of you. Okay. Okay.
The first moment of seeing it, that configuration is different than the second moment of seeing it.
So what?
So then the special configuration will become changing.
Not only special, even the table is also changing.
Yes.
First moment of the table and second moment of the table, it's different. It's changing. So does it mean the table is not there?
No. Table exists conventionally, but
Yes. So a special configuration exists conventionally. There's a table. Okay, maybe. Okay, the first sadhanaji.
I think the sequence, by ultimate analysis, the sequence of the atoms of that collection of table is not identifiable. Therefore, it resolves. The sequence, when you look at ultimate analysis, the sequence of that collection of parts is not
This.
identifiable in the same sequence. So it cannot be identifiable in the same sequence.
Okay, can you identify a sequence there?
That's not identifiable.
It doesn't matter. Can you identify something else?
It's the atoms.
The atoms, the collection is seen.
We cannot identify.
No, you identify only one atom or two atoms.
Maybe multiple, but
Multiple is the collection. So you identify the collection of atoms. So this collection has a special configuration. That's the table. Okay, the last, Ben.
What's inside my hand is a special configuration of parts. Therefore, it is a table, according to that definition.
No, special configuration of the atoms which constitute the table, not the
So
book.
you're using the word table in the definition for table. That's
No. I'm not saying the table is stable.
Okay.
I'm not saying the table is stable. I'm saying the collection of the atoms which constitute the object in front of me, which holds everything else. In front of me, which holds everything. It doesn't hold everything.
Okay. So we're getting to that.
Of course.
Okay, so if you develop that, then yes.
Yes, of course. Which has the function to hold things, the purpose of which is to hold things, right? With a special configuration, that is a table.
So
Okay, means you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So which means you accept objective existence of the table.
Subjective.
No, if you accept what I said, this is the meaning of the objective existence of the table.
Well, said by the subject. Said by the subject. So
What if it's the case you accept what I said?
Yes.
Okay, whatever label, I call you Dorji, Siring, Tashi, David, whatever you are Ben. Right? But with whatever label, it doesn't matter, you are a Ben. Okay, so what do you do? Okay. Okay. Okay, let us put it like this. For this, I admire what Philip said, what Yangila said, and what many others said. What he said. Say but the point is that person who asks this question should be happy. I agree with you, what Philip said. I agree with you, what two of you said and others. But this person who asks this question, that all the parts put together in a special configuration, that is the table. That person should be happy. Which means that till you are able to convince that person, somehow you have to still work on it. Okay, let us say that this picture of the Buddha, this is made of pixels. You agree with me? And at times it's also made of dots. This is known as, say, DPI. What is DPI? Dots per inch. You're getting it? Which means that, say, a picture. You can see a picture. You can see something as a photograph or a picture if it is made of, like, say, the minimum number of the dots required would be like, say, 200 dpi's. With 200 dpi's, you can see the picture. For example, 1 inch by 1 inch, very tiny 1 inch by 1 inch. Within that, 200 dots down, which means 40,000 dots. If the 1 inch by 1 inch photograph is made of 40,000 dots, then the picture is visible as a picture, right? So imagine that there's the Buddha picture, 1 inch by 1 inch with 40,000 dots. And certainly we want to do a soul offering, right? Soul offering on the Buddha Jayanti. Then I asked the Venerable Samala, we need to have a huge picture of the Buddha. And we don't get any picture of the Buddha. We only find a small picture, 1 inch by 1 inch. And then somehow this is the urgent. We have to blow this up, which means we have to develop it. A small picture, we can make it huge, yes? So this picture is made of 40,000 dots. And we want like 20 feet by 20 feet size. So these 40,000 dots will be, what happens as you blow up the picture, the dots become bigger in size. And the space between the dots also become bigger in size, yes? Okay. Just imagine that the person who developed this photograph, this person has been very creative. The dots are made in the form of the dots of the demon's face. So how many demon faces are there? 40,000 demon faces are there. And from distance, you see the Buddha image. You're getting it? And group A and group B, right? And the boys, they're coming for the retreat from far away, from 1 kilometer away. They see this, the 20 feet by 20 feet, huge the photograph of the Buddha on the the terrace of the Gomba of Thosamling. From there you can see, and the boys, they are saying, oh wow, this amazing Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. And all the girls are here in Thosamling. What is this? 40,000 demons. You're getting it? And they see that, the girls could see that the boys are saying Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Look at this. What Buddham Sharanam Gacchami? These are the demons. And the boys, they are saying, how come the girls, usually they are very spiritual, now they are not spiritual? They're looking at the Buddha statue, they say they're demons, right? Okay. So, what makes the boys see the Buddha? The boys, what the Buddha see, what the boys are seeing and what the girls are seeing is the same object, different objects. Same object, the boys see as the Buddha image, girls see as the 40,000 demons' faces. You getting it? Okay. So these 40,000 dots, are they the parts of the Buddha image with the girl, which the boys are seeing? 40,000 dots, are they the parts of the Buddha image the boys are seeing? Yes. So the girls who are like 10 feet away from this photograph, 10 feet away, they can see all the dots? Yes, all the dots. So the collection of dots they are seeing, and the special configuration is not altered. They are seeing the special configuration, but they don't see the Buddha, they see the demons. You're getting it? So if the special configuration of the collection of the parts, if that is the object, they should be able to see the Buddha, but they are not seeing this. You're getting it? So therefore, the special configuration of the collection of the parts, even that is not the object. Are you good? Same. Example is given, you should have little intelligence to extend to other things. You're getting it? And most likely, even in the Nagarjuna, I don't think he gave this example. You're getting it? Once you get an example, you should learn how to extend this to other things. If you wait for spoon feeding, then intelligence will never grow. You're getting it? This is very beautiful. Okay, let us all listen to this. This is what I'm so fond of. If you wait for spoon feeding, you will never grow in your intelligence. Right? So for that, you need to subject yourself to a little bit of challenge. Right? This is, I think, I'm sure some of you must have already seen this. I think the person who modernized Dubai or Saudi Arabia, I don't remember too well, he was interviewed by an interviewer and said that what do you see of the future of your country? And he said that my father rode a camel. My grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. And I'm riding Mercedes. And my son will ride Rolls Royce. My grandson will ride Rolls Royce. My great grandson will have to again go back to the camel. You're getting it? Let's not forget it. All the young people, all these gadgets, game, right? The gadgets come from where? Parents' money, right? Parents' money. So this is a great lesson for us. Don't wait for spoon feeding, right? And the interviewer said, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? So that your grandfather rode a camel, your father rode a camel, you are riding Mercedes, and your son is going to ride a Rolls Royce, and your grandson is going to ride the Rolls Royce, and your great grandson is going to ride a camel once more. Why is this? What is this? What does it mean by this? He said that tough times make a strong person. Strong person makes easy times. You getting it? Your parents, they worked so hard. They went through tough times. So therefore, they learn the skills, because of which they make things easy for you. And easy times make weak people, weak person. You are getting it? Easy times make a weak person. And a weak person makes difficult time. It's an amazing message, right? So, game. This is what easy time created by your parents. Now you become weak because you are the product of the easy time. Easy time makes weak people. And weak people will make difficult times. When you grow old, when the parents are gone, then nobody will give you money, right? So you have to go to the street begging, because you don't know how to feed yourself. Okay, let's not forget it. What is saying? Difficult times makes strong person. Strong person makes good times, easy times. Easy times makes weak people, and the weak people will make difficult times. You getting it? Let's not forget it. This is a big message, right? Don't wait for spoon feeding. Spoon feeding is waiting for easy times, and easy times will make you weak, and you will make the weak person will make difficult time, right? Okay, let's not forget it. Okay, Angela.
I just want to give an example about this special configuration of the table.
Yes.
So I live in Russia. We have a Buddhist center there, and we have no chairs, so in small tables like this. Then many tourists come in our place, and they to come there you need to walk 6 kilometers. So they come tired. And then they come inside and then see the tables. And they just sit on it.
Yes, they think there is chair.
Because they think this is
Chair.
But this is the same table. So like they see the special configuration of the table as the chair. So it means that it's depends on the one who receive the
Yes.
special configuration.
For you, there was a table.
Yes.
For the visitor, there was a chair. You're getting it? You're getting it? What's your mother's name? What's your mother's name?
Tatiana.
Tatiana. What is Tatiana's mother's name?
Natalia.
Natalie. Okay. In the eyes of Natalie, Tatiana is a daughter. Yes, no? Yes. In the eyes of Yankee, Tatiana is a mother. Yes, no? Yes. Right? This is very easy. Right? It's very easy. This object, right? For Yankee, this is a table. For a visitor, this is a chair. That's fine. So now for the visitor, the special configuration of the collection of the parts of this object is a chair for that visitor. Special collection configuration of the collection of the parts of this object for Yankee is a table. That's fine. Still, it does not. Well, it does not. They reject the basic principle. You're getting it? Good. Okay. So with this, how many you say, as a result of this practice of wisdom of emptiness, how many want to say get rid of your stress and so forth in your life, to a sense? Get rid of the headaches of your family, headaches of husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, all these headaches. How many want to get rid of that, to a sense? Right. Are you sure? How many serious resents? Okay, if you're very serious, so let us see how to manage the emptiness of the stress. You're getting it? Okay. That I think everybody wants it. Everybody's smiling. Wow. Okay. So when you say somebody tells you that, right? Okay, would you mind helping me? No, I'm very tired. I'm very tired. You're getting it? I'm very tired. I'm very sad. Okay. So this is, I'm so stressed. Right? So you want to see the emptiness there. Right? Okay. Let's say by the way, who gives you the karma yoga? Raise your hands. Who gives you the karma yoga? People, are you given the karma yoga or not? And who is the one who makes sure that karma yoga is done? Huh?
Who checks?
Yes, who checks? Venerable Samala, or no one checks? Even if you don't do it, it's fine. Huh? Self-operation. Huh?
Accountability.
Self-accountability. Okay, nobody's there to check on you. Okay, that's good. But who assigns you that this is your karma yoga, that is your karma yoga? Who assigns you? Yangila? Okay. Let's say. So one day Yangila gives you a lot of work without juice, without cheesecake, without, you're so, be hungry, thirsty, and so much work. Then you start complaining internally. No water, no tea, no coffee, so much hard work. And suddenly you see a box there. A box, and you can hear some noise like this. Right? For sure, this is not accidental. Right? There must be somebody there. Oh, we are so tired, we are so hungry, we are so thirsty. Even there, in that box also, there is somebody there. He or she must be very thirsty, hungry. And you bang at the door. Okay. I am very unhappy. I am very unhappy. Okay, so what you do is that you bang at the box and say, how are you? You must be hungry, you must be thirsty. How are you? Louder.
I am very unhappy.
What did you hear? Irina, what did you hear? I'm very unhappy. Did you hear this? Right? And then you feel so sorry. Okay, I thought that we are the only one who is hungry, thirsty, but the person inside here in this box is also very unhappy. Then you break the box, you open the box, and you saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Are you unhappy? He said, no, who said I'm unhappy? I just said, that's it. Who said I'm unhappy? And then, your name? Shari Bema. You must be unhappy? No, who said? I'm very happy. I just am. Right? And then you must be, Sonamla, you must be very unhappy. No, I said, Where? Right? And then you must be the one. No, I said re. Then on, ha. And then I said P. I said just P. Right? Who said I'm unhappy? I just P. Right? Who said it? Right? And then you start to doubt on yourself. Oh, what happened? What happened? I heard something like this, but nobody said it. Okay, then you go to Venerable Samula. Please, Venerable Samula, come. Because you know, and then Samula come, right? Okay, then Venerable Samula come. Please listen to what they are saying. You know, what is saying. To see if I'm hallucinating or is actually somebody said it. You bang the box again. How are you?
I.
What did you hear? Instead of what did you hear? I'm very happy. Huh? I'm very unhappy. What did you hear? I'm very unhappy, right? And someone like, did you hear the same? I'm very unhappy. Am I not hallucinating? No, you're not hallucinating, right? Then you go inside, again, you must be unhappy? No, who said? I'm very happy. Okay, so you say that nobody said I'm unhappy, right? But then you undeniably heard somebody having said this. Again, you bang the door, bang the box and ask, how are you?
I.
I'm very unhappy. Again, somebody said it. Okay. So, look, nobody said it, but you heard it. Objectively, from the object, nobody said it. From the subject, you heard it. Your mind is the subject. Your mind heard it. Your subject heard it. From the object, nobody said it. You're getting your mind, your subject heard it. So subjectively real, objectively empty. You're getting it? So now how does it happen? Is that I am very unhappy, I'm very stressed. Who's saying this? Your mind is saying this. Your mind is saying this. Your mind has 7 moments. I am very unhappy. 7 moments of the minds are there. First moment of the mind said I and left. Hey, you getting it? First moment of the mind came and said I, and the remaining moments are yet to come. And first moment said my job is done. I and left. Second moment came, said am and left. Third moment came and said there and left. Fourth moment said re and left. And next moment said on and have left. And last moment said P and left. My job is to say P, he left. Right? No one moment of the mind said that I'm very unhappy. You get it? But then you undeniably heard this. You undeniably feel that I'm saying that I'm very unhappy. Mentally, I'm talking to myself that I'm very unhappy. How is this happening? Objectively, there is no one who said that I'm very unhappy. There is no one who experiences that I'm very unhappy. So there are only 7 moments. So you subjectively, you put all these 7 moments together. For example, like these 7 people, I. So these 7 moments, 7 people are there. They said 7 different things, and your mind put them together. Subjectively, your mind put them together and gave a meaning to this. Objectively, there's no meaning. Subjectively, you give a meaning. You're getting it? Likewise, objectively, each of these moments, no single moment of your mind said, I am stressed, I am unhappy. You're getting it? It's your another mind which simply put them all together, which is not real. Put together and gave his own meaning, said that I'm very stressed, I'm very unhappy. Objectively, there's no one moment of the mind. If you realize this, it's quite scary. At the same time, that uneasiness, the stress will instantly disappear. The moment you realize that objectively, there's nobody who felt that I'm unhappy. You feel that it simply dissolves. When the stress, when that I'm unhappy, when that the dissolves in the mind, then the lightness will replace it. This is a very the helpful practice. And if you do this on a daily basis, it's going to be very helpful. Okay. We have only about like 10 minutes. So before this, one thing I'd like to share with you is that there are the four opposing, the concepts. Subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. Let us learn some of these. Say things exist subjectively as opposed to objectively. Number one. Things exist dependently as opposed to independently. Things exist relatively as opposed to absolutely. Things exist conventionally as opposed to ultimately. Okay, these are things and then things exist deceptively as opposed to truly. We learn these, the opposites, and all these, like say subjective existence, dependent existence, the relative existence, conventional existence, deceptive existence. These five are synonymous. And the opposite fives are likewise synonymous. You're getting it? This is very important. Okay, let me say this again. Subjective as opposed to objective. Then dependent as opposed to independent. Conventional as opposed to the ultimately. And then the relatively as opposed to absolutely. And then deceptively as opposed to truly. Okay, these are the fives that we learned. Yes.
Objectively would be the substantial existence, or
Okay, this is a good question. Objective means something exists independent of the subject. Yes.
I'm just asking, so with collection, special configuration, does it mean to say that conventionally special configuration exists, but ultimately it doesn't exist? Does it mean that, Keshava?
The special, so let's say that atoms. Conventionally, the atoms, are they the flower? Likewise, even conventionally, the special configuration of the collection of parts is not the flower. Even conventionally. Yeah. Okay, so we stop here. And the Venerable Thubten Tenzala, we will have like how many minutes? 30 minutes. Okay, we'll have a 30 minutes tea break. Then we'll come back for the closing ceremony of this program with the soul offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as a gesture of thanking them for that we did not come across any obstacles, because oftentimes obstacles are there. So without obstacles, we succeeded this retreat. So yeah, and that in future that we'll be able to continue these the deeper studies and reflection, meditation. For that purpose, we are doing this soul offering. Okay. Deta Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata